04:47 a.m. Four Russian-built fighters roar off an Iranian runway, their missile racks loaded for a carrier kill. 04:47 a.m. 12 attack boats cut through black water toward the same target, crews ready to die. 04:47 a.m. The USS Abraham Lincoln, unaware, pushes through the Persian Gulf darkness with 5,000 American sailors aboard. By 05:16 a.m., the sky would be on fire. This is the story of 29 minutes that pushed two nations to the brink, and what happened when the most sophisticated Iranian strike force met the full weight of American naval power. The attack had been planned for 72 hours in a bunker beneath Tehran. Intelligence reports flooded in daily, American carriers moving into position, B-52 bombers deploying to Qatar, satellite imagery showing force concentrations that could only mean one thing. To the Iranian commanders studying their screens, the pattern was unmistakable. An American strike was coming. Their response embodied desperate logic. If war is inevitable, strike first, strike hard, strike at the symbol of American naval supremacy before it reaches optimal position to destroy you. The mission went to Iran's most valuable assets, 4 Su-35 flanker fighters delivered from Russia 8 months earlier, sophisticated aircraft equipped with systems designed specifically to kill ships. Each fighter carried 2 Kh-31 supersonic anti-ship missiles, 8 missiles total. Target, 1 American supercarrier. But the Su-35s were only half the plan. 12 Revolutionary Guard speedboats would coordinate their approach to arrive precisely as the carrier's defense systems were overwhelmed with incoming missiles. It was asymmetric warfare at its most audacious. Use expendable fast attack craft to exploit the chaos of aerial bombardment and strike the carrier when its attention was focused skyward. The tactical sophistication was undeniable. The Su-35s would approach low and fast, using coastal radar clutter to mask their presence until the last possible moment. They would pop up at maximum missile range, fire everything in a coordinated salvo, then turn hard for Iranian airspace before American fighters could respond. The Kh-31 missiles, traveling at Mach 3.5, sea-skimming at 50 feet above the waves, gave the Lincoln's defenses perhaps 90 seconds from detection to impact. Meanwhile, the speedboats would close from multiple vectors, forcing the carrier's defense systems to engage both aerial and surface threats simultaneously. Classic saturation attack theory: present more targets than the defense can handle. At 04:47 a.m., engines ignited. The Su-35s accelerated down the Boucher runway and clawed into the darkness. The speedboats opened their throttles and disappeared into the pre-dawn gloom, hulls pounding across the Gulf swell at over 40 knots. Their target was 180 miles southwest. Aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln at 05:13 a.m., the Combat Direction Center operated with routine efficiency. The massive carrier was making her deliberate transit toward the Strait of Hormuz, a calculated show of American power amid escalating regional tensions. Her flight deck bristled with Fa-18 Super Hornets and F-35C Lightning IIs. An E-2D Advanced Hawkeye early warning aircraft circled overhead, its powerful radar scanning the approaches. The watch change was underway. Nothing suggested what was coming. Then at 05:13 a.m., a radar operator aboard the USS Port Royal, the Ticonderoga-class cruiser serving as the strike group's air defense commander, noticed something wrong. Fleeting contacts appearing and disappearing at the edge of detection range, fast-moving, low altitude. Within seconds, contact information flooded across the strike group's data link network. The E-2D Hawkeye focused its sensors on the indicated bearing. 4 definite contacts materialized on screens. Range, 63 miles. Speed,
580 knots, altitude fluctuating between 150 and 300 feet. The contact geometry was all wrong for friendly aircraft. Then thermal imaging detected the second threat axis, 12 high-speed surface contacts spread in attack formation, racing toward the carrier group at over 40 knots. This was a coordinated strike designed to sink the carrier. At 04:47 a.m., everything erupted. The Su-35s climbed abruptly to 3,000 feet, and the Port Royal's radar lit up with 8 missile launches in rapid succession. Vampire, vampire, vampire. The call exploded across all circuits, naval terminology for incoming anti-ship missiles. The KH-31s dropped from their launch rails, rocket motors igniting with brilliant flares. They immediately descended to sea-skimming altitude, 50 feet above the waves, and accelerated past 2,000 miles per hour. Their active radar seekers locked onto the massive signature of the Abraham Lincoln. The American response was instantaneous. The Port Royal's Aegis combat system calculated engagement priorities and began firing SM-2 Standard missiles from vertical launch cells. 12 interceptors streaked skyward, then arced over and dove toward the incoming KH-31s. Simultaneously, the Abraham Lincoln initiated violent evasive maneuvers. 100,000 tons of warship heeled hard to starboard, turbines screaming as they pushed her to flank speed. The ocean churned white in her wake. Her escort vessels maneuvered aggressively, positioning themselves between the carrier and the threat axis. The first interceptions occurred at ranges between 18 and 24 miles. 3 SM-2 missiles found their targets. 3 KH-31s exploded in brilliant flashes, but 5 missiles remained inbound, now entering terminal attack phase, where their speed and low altitude made them exponentially harder to kill. At 2,000 miles per hour, each missile closed 1 mile every 2 seconds.
The USS Spruance positioned herself directly between 2 incoming missiles and the carrier. Her Phalanx close-in weapon systems engaged at maximum range, 20mm Gatling cannons spewing 4,500 rounds per minute. The first missile flew directly into the stream and disintegrated. The second missile adjusted, but a rolling airframe missile caught it. Brilliant fireball 3 miles from the Lincoln. 3 KH-31s penetrated inside 5 miles. At this range, everything operates on automated sequences. Tracking systems handing off to weapon systems, firing solutions calculated in milliseconds. Rolling airframe missiles launched from multiple points along the Lincoln's hull. The carrier's Phalanx systems opened up, thousands of rounds creating walls of lead. 2 more KH-31s exploded. The 8th and final missile made it through every defensive layer. It streaked toward the Lincoln's starboard side, barely 20 feet above the waves, warhead armed. Every sailor on deck saw it coming, a blur of metal and fire racing toward them faster than the eye could follow. At the last microsecond, electronic countermeasures fooled the missile's guidance system. The flight computer adjusted course by 7 degrees. 7 degrees. At that range and speed, it was enough. The KH-31 impacted the water 25 feet from the carrier and detonated. A massive plume erupted skyward, the shockwave hammering the hull, causing minor sensor damage. But the carrier remained fully operational. While the aerial engagement reached its climax, the surface battle intensified. The 12 Iranian speedboats had penetrated inside the defensive perimeter. They were within 2 miles of the carrier. They had witnessed the sky erupting with explosions. Now it was their moment. The USS Michael Murphy opened fire with her 5-inch gun. Shells churned the water around the lead formation. The first boat exploded in a direct hit. The second disintegrated under another shell. The Lincoln's defensive weapons swung into action. 25mm Bushmaster cannons and 50 caliber machine guns.
Tracer rounds laced the darkness. 3 more speedboats exploded under concentrated fire within 30 seconds. A fourth hit multiple times, slewed sideways, and began sinking. The remaining 7 boats continued their attack run, some firing rocket-propelled grenades that splashed harmlessly. An MH-60R Seahawk helicopter swung toward the engagement, door gunners opening fire. Against the combined firepower of an American carrier strike group, survival proved impossible. One after another, the boats were systematically destroyed. Some exploded from direct hits, others shredded under machine gun fire. By 05:24 a.m., 11 minutes after first contact, all 12 speedboats had been eliminated. Estimated crew losses, over 40 Iranian personnel killed or missing. But the Iranian Su-35 pilots were still airborne, and now they faced the counterstrike. 4 FA-18 Super Hornets had launched from the Lincoln's catapults during the engagement. Armed with AMRAAM missiles, they vectored directly toward the retreating Iranian fighters. The Su-35 pilots confronted impossible mathematics. They had burned enormous fuel during their low-altitude approach and attack run. They were still 80 miles from Iranian airspace. Their radar warning receivers screamed with multiple lock-ons. They went to maximum afterburner, dumping chaff and flares, maneuvering violently. None of it mattered. At 05:29 a.m., precisely 29 minutes after takeoff from Bushehr, the first kill occurred. The lead Super Hornet achieved radar lock at 40 miles and fired 2 AMRAAM missiles. The AMRAAMs accelerated to Mach 4. The Iranian pilot deployed every countermeasure. The advanced seeker technology tracked through the defenses. Both missiles impacted within 2 seconds. The Su-35 exploded in a massive fireball, visible for 30 miles. The pilot ejected, parachute deploying as he descended toward the Gulf. At 05:33 a.m., the second kill. An AMRAAM struck the port engine of another Su-35, causing catastrophic damage. The fighter entered an uncontrolled spin, trailing fire and smoke. The pilot ejected successfully, though his aircraft plummeted into the sea. The third Su-35 faced the cruelest mathematics, fuel critically low, American fighters still pursuing, Iranian airspace 40 miles distant. The pilot attempted landing at the nearest coastal airfield near Bandar Abbas. He declared an emergency, lowered his gear, lined up on final approach, but the damage was too severe. The aircraft became uncontrollable. It crashed into the runway threshold at high speed and exploded in a massive fireball. The pilot did not survive. Only one Su-35 made it back. Fuel nearly empty, the pilot executed a gear-up emergency landing at Bushehr, sliding along the runway in a shower of sparks before coming to rest with severe structural damage. The pilot climbed out uninjured. His aircraft would never fly again.
At 05:45 a.m., 58 minutes after the first Iranian fighters had taken off, the engagement was over. Final tally: 3 Iranian Su-35s destroyed, 1 severely damaged beyond repair, 12 speedboats annihilated. Estimated Iranian casualties, over 50 personnel killed. American casualties, 0. Damage to USS Abraham Lincoln, minor sensor damage. The carrier remained mission-capable and continued its transit. In Washington, at 10:47 p.m. the previous evening, 05:47 a.m. Gulf time, the President received an emergency briefing. The response was swift but calibrated. 2 additional carrier strike groups received deployment orders. B-2 stealth bombers repositioned to undisclosed locations. But instead of launching immediate retaliatory strikes, the administration opened a direct diplomatic channel to Tehran through Swiss intermediaries. The message was unambiguous. This unprovoked attack would not be tolerated. Military retaliation remained an option, but the door to de-escalation remained open. Tehran faced brutal clarity. The carefully planned attack had failed catastrophically. 4 precious Su-35 fighters had been destroyed or damaged beyond repair. 12 attack boats and their crews annihilated. Instead of preventing American operations, Iran had provided ironclad justification for a military campaign it could not win. The next 72 hours saw intensive diplomatic activity. Russia attempted to broker a settlement. China applied pressure on both sides. European allies urged restraint while acknowledging America's right to self-defense. The resolution provided both sides an exit. Iran claimed the attack had been a regrettable miscalculation by regional commanders acting without proper authorization. The United States demanded and received substantial compensation, along with unprecedented commitments regarding future Iranian military activities near international shipping lanes. The tactical lessons became subjects of military analysis. Iran's plan demonstrated genuine sophistication, coordinated air and surface attack, multiple threat vectors, timing designed to saturate defenses. But tactical sophistication cannot overcome fundamental capability gaps. American carrier strike groups exist specifically to defeat this type of assault. The networked battle group concept, multiple ships sharing targeting data in real time, automated engagement sequences, layered defense, proved devastatingly effective. Iran's fundamental error was assuming tactical success would alter the strategic balance. Even sinking the carrier would have triggered overwhelming retaliation. The United States maintains 11 carrier strike groups globally. Iran had just lost 3 of its most advanced fighters in a single engagement. The asymmetry was absolute. The incident accelerated Iran's pivot toward drone technology, cyber warfare, and proxy forces, asymmetric tools that don't require surviving direct conventional confrontation with carrier strike groups. For those who lived through those 29 minutes, American sailors manning battle stations, pilots intercepting enemy fighters, Iranian crews who never made it home, the engagement remains vivid proof that the Persian Gulf sits perpetually on the knife's edge between uneasy peace and devastating war. One successful missile hitting the flight deck, one speedboat reaching the hull, the outcome could have been catastrophically different. Hundreds of casualties, a burning carrier, immediate escalation, regional chaos. Instead, those 29 minutes became a demonstration. Challenging American naval supremacy requires more than courage or tactical sophistication. It requires fundamental capabilities that Iran simply does not possess. The sun rose over the Strait of Hormuz that morning on burning wreckage and floating debris. The USS Abraham Lincoln steamed onward, her mission unchanged. And the world stepped back from a war that almost began at 04:47 a.m. on a dark morning in the Persian Gulf.